are royal women. We are most dignified women. We are not bitches. We are not whores. We are the royal women of this planet Earth.
Hello and welcome. You are now tuned into the Ebb and Flow podcast. I'm your host, LA-based actor, model, and poet, Ebonee Davis. You all are in for a treat today. Today's guest is known around the world for very important work of teaching others how to heal thyself. Through workshops, books, products, and programs, she reminds us that the blueprint to heal is already within us, but the work is for us to do. Please welcome our favorite holistic health practitioner and wellness coach, Queen Afua.
Thank you so much for having me, Ebonee Davis, and Ebb and Flow. It's a pleasure.
It's such an honor to have you here. I know your time is precious, and so we want to get right into these questions. And I also just want to preface and say that, I took the Sacred Woman program, the 12-week program this fall and this winter. I graduated, or I ascended in February, and it was such a life-changing program for me. And as someone in their 20s, I realized that my demographic was kind of like missing from the program. There weren't many of us present, and I just thought to myself, it would be so powerful to take Queen Afua's teachings and bring it to my audience of young women, because I think at this age, it's absolutely necessary, and this is such a pivotal time in our lives, and the relationships that we have during this time, the friendships that we're in, the people we surround ourselves by, the habits that we're forming really dictate how the rest of our lives can play out, and they really dictate, the timeline of events that can unfold for the rest of our lives. And so it's so essential that we intervene and get this healing into the hands of people in their 20s, young people, and people of all ages, people beyond. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So the first question I have for you is, what made you recognize, or when did you first recognize the need for women empowerment and for women to heal themselves? What was the catalyst for that?
Well, I knew this as a teenager, actually. I had a dance company at 16. And we did travel around Brooklyn and Manhattan, and we went out, in the southern regions from time to time to perform culture, because culture is medicine, dance, and language, and dress, and how we wear our hair. All of that is our culture and our tradition, and which empowers us. So I saw it early on that would give us the confidence, because our legacy was stolen. Yeah. We were stolen off our land. So the language, the culture, the medicine, our pathway in the very beginning of time, civilization, it was others came and squatted on our land and took over. Yeah. And this is an ancient Kemet. And then we dispersed throughout Africa. And then the foreigners came over time. And then they came and stole us off our land. And when you take someone off the land, and you take their culture and all of that, the person is empty. So bringing it all to the now, a lot of the issues that we're having now is due to that. That's the racism, that's the chattel slavery, it's due to that. Things are passed down generational. This is generational damage, talking about trauma of the people. And so as a result, couples, husbands and wives have a difficult time maintaining a relationship. So many households are without both parents. And that causes very deep stress for the children, causes imbalance. And when I look at women and their wombs, I looked at that for years, because I looked at my own issues. And I found that back when the book was first written, Sacred Woman, 45% of Black women had fibroid tumors. 22 years later, 90% of Black women have fibroid tumors. We're in a pandemic, but we're just not aware of it. And the same with the STDs. 80% of all the citizens in America have some form of, either had or have right now, some form of STD, so everyone's infected. So that's another pandemic. And then what about the mothers who don't go full term, or they die in childbirth? 45% of Black mothers die in childbirth. That is a pandemic. Yeah. And so our men die out early on and leave the women without that balance in their 45 years of age, 50 years of age. That is a pandemic, and that is a breakdown of the people. So taking this healing on, it just showed up everywhere that we need to heal thyself, we need to heal ourselves. So I developed programs and trainings to address that, to build us back up economically. So many women who take this training, they do what I've done. I'm an entrepreneur. I also was raised as an entrepreneur because my father was an entrepreneur. He had his own business. And so it was in the household because that's your independence. When you need your finance given by people outside of your culture, outside of your race, then you're beholding, you're enslaved to them, and you're building up their economics. And they have the banks, and we don't. And we need money, we need a loan, we need a house. We have to go outside of our community to get that. And they're not, self-preservation is a first law of nature. So taking holistic and from my own illnesses and healing myself, I became convicted. And in that conviction, I saw other women that were lacking and were suffering like I was, from PMS, chronic PMS, to toxic relationships and taking that in. And I had to go through a journey, and I'm still on the journey. And I've taken as many Black women with me as possible to empower all of us.
Ashe, I love that. And I've learned from your program that, things like yoga, color therapy, sound therapy, all of these healing modalities that originally belonged to us, they've been appropriated, they've been gentrified, and we as a community, our access to them has been limited. How important is it for you to bring those back to our community and to reiterate and restate the fact that these are actually historically practices that we created?
It's overwhelmingly joyous to me because I see the confidence of the women. I see them becoming more radiant, stronger, more unified. I see massive changes in women who are shaken and broken and stressed out and feeling they didn't have the power. There was a point where so many women from corporate America were coming to me because they were so sick, and their job was making them sick, and being under the thumb of somebody else's rule was making them sick. So when they become self-empowered and are able to take care of themselves, it's profound. But I've coined it as African natural lifestyle because in my research of writing sacred, channeling sacred woman, I said, wait a minute, holistic health is not new age, because then some other people will claim it. Holistic health is African natural lifestyle. It was rooted in ancient Kemet from the Nile Valley. So when I said, oh, wait a minute, aromatherapy, oh, that's African natural lifestyle. Polarity therapy, African natural lifestyle, color therapy, yoga, meditation, affirmations, African natural lifestyle, reflexology, massage therapy, and you could just keep naming them. Dance, or African herbology. It's our culture. And so when we take on the Sacred Woman pathway, we're taking on our culture and we are fully empowered. And the thing is so beautiful to me is because it was, as the book was closing out, I got a direct signal. Most High said, make sure that you link all the religions. And so whether you're a Muslim woman, you're a Muslim sacred woman, a Christian sacred woman, a Yoruba sacred woman, an Akan sacred woman, a Black national sacred woman, a Hebrew Israelite sacred woman, a Nubian sacred woman. All of you are sacred because you're one with the divine. And this melanin, we're the mothers of civilization. So when we get healed up and we get charged up, it heals our husbands, our sons, our daughters, our grandmothers, our mothers, our children. It spreads. Sacred woman is to wake up the healer within all of us. So we are empowered women. So it is a privilege and it's a joy to see the radiance of women and their confidence and how we build up as a people.
Yes, I think it's so important that you incorporated all of those religions into your Sacred Women teaching, because it's not about religion, it's not about, a specific structure or belief path. It's truly just about how we can empower and heal ourselves. That's knowledge that all women should have access to, despite religion or any cultural background. And I love the other thing that you touched on is that when we heal ourselves, we have the power to heal everybody around us. And I think, women as a whole have abandoned our position as the healer because we've abandoned ourselves for so long. And, we think of, being in the home and raising children and cooking meals as something degrading. And I think in my healing, what I realized is that it's actually such a powerful position to be in, to be a healed woman and to be the person in your house who can determine the health of the rest of your family, the wellness of the rest of your family. the health and healing of your community. That is such a powerful position to be in. And I think so many of the ideologies and beliefs around womanhood, through the construct of capitalism and just having gone through slavery, it's kind of like we look at that as servitude to man, and it's sort of an extension of slavery. But I think in its original form, being in that empowered woman position is it's an honor. It's a privilege. And I think that's what we have to realize. We have to deconstruct looking at being in that position as being in a position of servitude to man, and being in a position of service, to our community and to ourselves through our own healing.
It's a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
We're trained to look outside of ourselves for someone else to heal us, for someone else to take care of us. We have to be self-sufficient. From the 60s, it was always stated that we should be self-sufficient, that we should rely on ourselves for education, for food. So women, they sold their own clothes. We were gardening then. We were herbalists in the 60s. We were waking up to this. I just took all of that and bringing in the beginning of time, the teachings of our ancestors, and seeing what were the gaps in the women. How were the women suffering? From womb issues to heart issues to relationship issues to mental issues to all the different levels of stress and anxiety. And this pathway that I have witnessed from my own personal healing and of watching my sisters and my spiritual daughters and all of that, they began to heal and we began to overcome insurmountable odds. So when a woman can heal her family, who is she? She is the medicine woman. That is revered. That's why doctors are revered. Doctors are revered because they are told that they are the healers. But what happens when we flip the script and say the power to heal me and my family is in me?
Yes.
And I used to tell my children, I said, listen, whatever your problems are, come to me. I'm the one. I don't, and nobody, people thought that's crazy. How are you going to say you're the one? I said, yes, I'm the one. What, they have a problem, this, that, and that. Take a herb, take a bush, take a tea, take a prayer, run a bath. I always knew from my ancestors that we were the ones. But I got a prayer. I got a prayer from ancient Kemet that gave me the full confidence to say, we are the healers. And this is the prayer in English translation. We are the women, and you know this, who lighten the darkness. We've come to lighten the darkness. It is lightened. We overcome the destroyers. We're there for those who weep and hide their faces, who shut down. They looked upon us then. That's right, looked upon us then. We are the women. We are the healers. So what I've observed is that the women they call the others, the European women, the East Indian women, they look at us and say, wow, you have this knowledge? I spoke at the United Nations a few times, so I know where we are. They're looking at us because we are looking at ourselves and we know who we are and we are waking up. And we are royal women. We are most dignified women. We are not bitches. We are not whores. We are the royal women of this planet Earth. This melanin is a gift from the Most High. And in that gives us superhuman powers. We can see deeper beyond the flesh. We hear deeper beyond the normal ear. We feel with our souls. And so all of these are gifts. And that keeps you in tune with the divine, which makes you sacred. The planet has to come into a balance when we come into it. Because women, we can birth a new world. And as African, we birthed everyone. Everyone, when you start looking at it historically, came through us and from us. So since the world is in a sick state, then the mothers, it's time for the Black mothers to come into their proper seat, which we call her Ast, the seat of power. You say, oh, there's a seat of power? In that seat is your wealth. In that seat is your prosperity. So I know that. And my father raised me that way. My mother raised me that way. So I was able to have a father and a mother in the house that gave me that strength to let me know. But then I take that strength and I say we. I don't say I, because it could be just me, but that's not going to make us whole as a people, because I come out of a people. And I come out of people that I love, and because I love you, I care for you. And my quest is that you care for your people just as much, like what you're doing right now. And you're saying, I am going to speak on this. I am going to testify on this. I am going to show women that there's a pathway out of death and destruction and hell and damnation and disease, body, mind, spirit. You know when I saw it, when it really showed up, real loud screaming? When the pandemic hit, the Black women, they got deeper into their healing, whether it be elderberries or ginger or more vitamins D, getting more sunlight or taking hot baths or going into vegan lifestyle. They got deeper into their healing. And so we didn't see a lot of us getting all the different issues. We didn't see a lot of us having being affected by the pandemic. But what we did is we started to boost up our immune system even more so to prevent the issues. So it's just empowerment, however you turn it. Second woman gives you that empowerment. Have you look? And the thing about second woman, it's not one woman who's doing this. It's a collective. We have elders. We have moots. We have practitioners. All of these women come up, circle around all of us, and the women from different perspectives. They come with their gems and their jewels. So it's a community. It's a village. It's a circle of wellness. And circle is not just in one town. It used to be, in the book first came out, it was just in the place where I work in Brooklyn. But then when the social media kicked in, then it went all around the world. And so this work is in the UK, it's in Africa, it's in Brazil, it's in Canada, and it's in through every city in the United States. This work, these healers, this is an uprise. This is an overcoming.
Yes, it
It's an
is.
uprising. We feel it and we
Yes.
know it. And see, because I'm coming out of the
Yes.
60s, I know it is the power to the people. And this is all
Yes.
that. And it cannot be
Absolutely.
stopped. It cannot be stopped at this
No.
point. So, and because it's all of us are coming in our leadership. So, who's the leader? We
Yeah.
try to knock one person out. It cannot, because it's already spread. Just like disease has spread, wellness, healing, African natural lifestyle
Yes.
has spread. And we're here to say this is our culture. Everybody line up and follow us. We're the ones.
Something I've noticed in my age group is just this rejection of true femininity, true feminine essence, sacred womanhood in exchange for this sort of cosplay of it, where it's like we feel like we have to go out into the world and take and get, which is a very masculine
That's
energy,
it.
and we have to, take from men, and we have to claim our space, but then we sort of cosplay femininity through the surgeries and the hips and whatever adornment we choose to add that makes us externally appear to be more feminine. And I would just love for you to comment on that. I really, for me personally, I just think it's a function of this, matrix that we're in, that sort of tricked us out of our position as women, told us that womanhood is inferior, that femininity is inferior, and that we need to be out grabbing and taking, and we've embodied that energy. And I think part of it too is because we're coming from these broken communities, these broken homes, and it has been a function of survival. But now moving into this new era, what would you say to people of my generation who are in that energy?
Oh, yes. If you just go on one half of you, you have half the power. You need all your power. There's two sides of us. There's left and right hemisphere, there's left and right brain, there's upper lower kemet, it's masculine, it's feminine. So if you only do feminine, you're half the power. If you only do masculine within you, you're half the power. How you bring it both together? Your feminine is the part of you that is intuitive, that is creative, that looks at life as beauty and creates beauty. Your feminine is intuitive and picks up the messages and the signals of the divine to give us answers to how to get out of the mess that is here. The masculine is the container that that calls it into material. So if you get the material and the prosperity and the finance and the drive, as the feminine principle, we get up at between 4 and 6 in the morning. We pick up message. We say, Most High, where's my money? Where's my love? Where's my home? Where's my prosperity? We pick it up because we're clean, we're vegetarians, we're vegans, we're life. We're picking it up and we're getting up and we're spiritually tuned. So we get the download, uploads, message, and signal from the feminine perspective, and then the masculine perspective. By the time we go out in the world, then we're go getters, and we're energized, and we bring it from the feminine principle. The feminine principle is the guidance from the Most High. Then we now know where to go, who to go, what to get, when to receive it, dates, times, and places. All of that, it's a roadmap to your life. And if you only use one side, you use one side, the feminine principle, you won't go and get it. You'll just sit. You'll pick a big message up. You write a book in your head, but it never happens. It's when you take the book that's in your head, in your heart, and you put it on paper and you sell it, and you end up having workshops, classes, and seminars, and you get on a plane and you travel. That's when you have both left and right brain happening, and that's your wealth. And medicine, Europeans have taken and have taken over our medicine in the form of this. And it comes in a symbol. And the symbol is two snakes, right and left. And this is the symbol for the resurrection of a soul. That's called the Kundalini power. That's come from your base. It travels and it's actually tying in your left and right hemisphere. And then it goes all the way up to your crown and it comes out through the Ucha. So that's when you have full consciousness and full awareness. So every second you are tapped in, you know where, what, and how. But if you only do one side, you're in trouble. And the feminine principle is in African culture, it's the woman that is over the land. And you see, when you go into the marketplace, the women are the ones who put the money in the pouch. Women are the ones that collect the prosperity and the finance. The man there is to protect. So she can pull and she can draw and she can move it. So the economy is based on the feminine principle. The land is based on the feminine principle. That's why I call it Mother Earth. But look at the sky, Mother. That is your power. When you realize that you have guardians, indwelling guardians, which are different, but new births the whole world. And you see it in the art, where she's over the whole planet. We on earth are the continuation of Mother Newt. So we know that we have power. When we think about a seat, a throne, the name of the throne is us. That's the great mother on her seat of power. She has resumed her position. Yes. So that is all a part of the power. When we think about Mesh Connect, birthing your purpose, that's 2 bricks. That's squatting. When you squat to bring in life, you bring in a new world. What kind of power is that? Yes. It's majesty. Yes. When the husband is sick and you can give him a tea and break that fever, or your child has a stomach ache and you can clean him out rather than maybe getting some medication, but the medication's in the plants, that's supernatural power. When you can pick up a message for your sister girl and say, listen, I'm picking up this blessing trying to get to you on Tuesday at 12 o'clock. I want you to go over here and say, but that's power. That's the feminine principle. So when we deny that, then we are slaves. Yes, amen. When we deny that, then we are abused. Yes. When you know your power, somebody says, no, you can't. You say, but of course I can. Tell me I cannot. I'm saying it for my people. I can, we are, and we are doing it. And I'm seeing you. And I'm seeing that I'm being witness to the truth. Yes. So it's not an hypothesis that I think this works. I know it works. It's called I know that I know, because I see that you and I have confidence in you, and that you will carry it on for generations, and we will raise up once again as we was in the beginning. Amen. Yes, I think the denial of that feminine principle. And so to the young women. Yes. Yeah. To the young women. Absolutely. I think to the young women. Yeah. What is your age? Please tell. I'm 29. You're 29? Yes, I am. Wow. The ages that come into this, because in my interviews that people ask me, how do you I'm up of age. I'm in my 60s. Yeah. How does this even happen? That these women in their, some teenagers, but the women in their 20s and 30s, because this is what you need to break through to the next cycle. Yes. Without this, you won't have a breast after a certain time. You're going to be having your breast removed, a mastectomy, because you don't know how to take care of your breast. Yeah. If you don't get this now, you'll have a hysterectomy by the time you're 50 years old. You don't even know that's even coming. Right. If you don't know this work, you'll have a prolapse uterus and they'll give you a hysterectomy. If you don't know this work, you're going to go through, you'll end up having your babies taken from you as opposed to going through a natural birth. If you don't know this work, then you're going to attract a man that's going to beat you and abuse you and put you down. Yeah. If you know this work and your confidence and you radiate that life and that fortification, the man will come to you and he will give you reverence because you're giving yourself reverence. If you come broken, wounded, scared, insecure, he's going to give you who you are. Ooh. And if he's at his lowest level and he looks upon the eye, he will raise up to his real self. Amen. He will say, yes, my queen. Yes, wow. Thank you for lifting me up and showing me the way. So being an African woman is the most powerful gift on the planet Earth, and I know it to be so. Yes. And when I go in the world, I carry you all with me. Amen. And then you carry me with you. Amen. But I know you have testimony. It's interesting that you mentioned, as you get older, you might deal with the possibility of hysterectomy and breast removal due to cancer and complications bearing children if you don't have this knowledge, because
everybody who I've talked to, so many of these women in my age group are actually dealing with these issues: fibroids, polyps, cysts. And I myself dealt with this issue. I was having very violent periods, crippling pain. I couldn't leave my house. If I took pain medication too late in the day, I would just have to deal with the pain, vomiting and nausea. Anything I ate would come right back up, and this was month after month after month, and I was in so much pain that I was just wishing that, like, I don't know, God, just take it away. Like, there's anything, you know, I would have done anything. And I think so many women my age, even in their 20s, are dealing with this level of pain. And I believe it's a culmination of, you know, the trauma that we've held onto from being enslaved, as well as the conditions up until present day that have all just culminated, that we hold onto in our wombs. And I think I had already started eating well and exercising because I was desperate. You know, I was desperate to figure out what the cause of this was. And I think what Sacred Woman taught me was that your period isn't just a physical thing. It isn't just the cleansing of your body, which is an important aspect of it. Cleaning out your body is important. Detoxing, eating well is so important. But also addressing the spiritual needs of your womb is going to take that process of menstruation to another level that you didn't know was possible. And so for me, what really changed my relationship with my menstrual cycle and actually brought so much ease to that menstrual cycle, even after having polyp removal surgery and still being in such severe pain, that it didn't change anything. That I'll say that the surgery didn't change anything, but what did change it was Sacred Woman and the knowledge that when I'm menstruating, I'm not just ridding myself of toxins, I'm also releasing old emotions. I'm also releasing trauma. I'm also releasing pent up expressions that never got the chance to manifest, that I just pushed down into my womb. And so now when I'm menstruating and I sit and I say, I hear you, I feel you, I acknowledge your presence, the cramps dissipate. When I let them know that I'm here for them, and I hear them and I say, oh, there was an emotion that wasn't expressed. There were tears that weren't cried. There was trauma that wasn't addressed. I hear you. I feel you. And we can let it go now. That's when I started to notice relief. So I would just love for you to talk about your process of developing that very long first chapter and realizing that the womb is truly, you know, the source of wellness for women.
The womb, it tells the whole story, and it records everything. The womb, she remembers every experience, and that means she's compounding, because you haven't had a marriage with her yourself to let go, to overstand, to why did it happen, to purge, to repair, to have conversation. One of the ways in which we do, we begin to let the womb speak. And as she begins to talk to you, she'll tell you, don't do that anymore. She'll give you your formula, your spiritual, your emotional formula. Do not engage with that type of lovemaking, because it's actually war. That she'll tell you it's time for you to take time for yourself. She will tell you to change your habits and your things. She'll tell you to go back to your mother and ask her what is her womb story. Because in your mother's womb story is your womb story and grandmother's womb story, and it goes down from generation to generation. So I have a womb wellness approach. And that womb wellness approach shows up in Sacred Woman. It shows up in Womb Care Love, which my daughter have brought forth the Womb Care Love products and all of that. So you become empowered to what's happening to your womb. And you get a chance to come off the conveyor belt of womb destruction and womb annihilation, womb removal. You don't have to participate with that any further when you know and you're empowered with knowledge of self, how to begin to heal your womb using nature, using a circle of sisters who are also healing and coming out of pain. So in 12 weeks, I always ask the question, how many of you came in with womb pain during your menses? And 80% will raise their hand. How many of you have no more womb pain right now in the 11th or 12th week? And they'll say, I have no more womb pain. One after next, I have no more womb pain. And how many days is your menstrual flow? Where it was in the beginning, it was 5, 6, 7 days. And now it's 1, 2, 3 days with no clotting, no vaginal burning, no itching, no vaginal odor, and no bad attitude. No stress, no madness, no craziness, no violence. So you spoke about, you said, when I had my menses, I felt violent.
Yeah.
A young sister just spoke today who took Sacred Woman, went through her rites of passage, a teenager.
Yeah.
And she said, I was feeling violent then, quick to anger, short with the mouth, and all that hurts you. It eats up your soul after a while. So we actually bring our soul back to life. We bring our womb back to life. And that's got to be empowering to every woman to know that she can actually take herself out of womb pain. She gets to restore herself, rejuvenate herself, and you take the layers and layers of trauma passed down through the generations. So when you, as a woman, you're self-healed, you can go back to your mother and you can help deliver her from her trauma.
Wow, today's episode was so full of gems. I'm so grateful to Queen Afua for being able to come in and just enlighten us and just really bless us with her presence. She's an extremely busy woman. So many people, so many women, so many Black women are in need of this healing and in need of the services that she has to offer. And so I'm so grateful that she was able to be here with us today. In all transparency, this episode was challenging because the forces of evil don't want us to get this messaging across. And there was so many little interruptions and things that just tried to stop this from happening. And I think it's just a testament to our faith and the testament to our power and what can happen when two powerhouse women with the intention of healing our community can come together. We are in direct opposition to these forces of evil, and I think through our dedication and commitment to our community, we're going to be able to make such a huge difference. So thank you again to Queen Afua. Thank you all for tuning in, and we're going to try to get you guys a part 2 because we think that's what you deserve. There's so much more to share in this story. There's so much more knowledge to be gained, and so we're going to try to get Queen Afua back to get even deeper into this healing. Thank you all so much for tuning in.